Welcome. You are listening to the Be a Better Being podcast, hosted by Michelle Zellner and Sasha Berscheid. Michelle and Sasha are here to give you information and inspiration to help you live your healthiest, happiest lives. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the show.
Greetings, Better Beings. Thank you for tuning in to the Be a Better Being podcast. I am Michelle Zellner, your host. My fabulous side host today is with me. What's going on, Sasha?
Everything, Michelle, everything is going on. Like literally everything all at once.
It's true. That is not an understatement or an exaggeration of any way, shape, or form. And we are going to get to that because this is our last episode of the year. And we thought it'd be fun to kind of reflect upon the year. This is something I've been doing for a long time. And I got started like reflecting on the year way, way, way back before I even really knew I was doing it because I'm a dinosaur. I keep the good old fashioned pencil and paper day planner. And when I do my own taxes, because I'm lazy to do it as I go with like mileage and things, I would go through my taxes and start back in January to see where did I drive? How many miles was it? Where did I go? Where did I do? What did I do? What was the park? And when I did that, I got to see all the other things I did that day, that week, the notes I made, had lunch with Sasha, launched our podcast, right? Like the things that are big in the moment and then you kind of forget about them because other things take over. And it really was fun. It was like a trip down memory lane every year. And it lets you kind of pause and really celebrate some of those little things that add up to make it a big thing, except we often overlook the little things. So I thought you and I would try to go month by month, good, bad, ugly, right? Because reflection is all of it. And so if you can remember all the way back to last January, what was last January like for you?
Yeah, so last year was the very first year that I had decided to take a sabbatical during January, and I will be doing that again this year. So that's something that I'm really excited for. But that's what last January we took a road trip from Omaha, Nebraska. We piled the entire family into the Jeep and we drove all the way to Mission Beach, California, the four of us. So that was my January, is just that whole trip of blur of every different state, all the different terrains, and there's beautiful terrain. That was probably my favorite thing, is just seeing all the different terrain that the United States has to offer. And then just dealing with family on the road. That was a really interesting and growing time for all four of us.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know also in January you made a little pit stop in Colorado and we did our little photo shoot for all of the podcast promotion. So that was fun to get to spend that day with you for sure.
And it was, it was just like everything else that I do. It was just a 24-hour stint. And then from there, I went on to the next thing. But yeah, I was really glad that we did get to connect and then really just make it official, make the podcast and all of the pictures and everything, and just right then almost speak what we wanted into existence that day too.
I agree. Yeah, I think we got to have a little time to really have some good, real Sasha and Michelle conversations, which we don't always get to have. So that was certainly a fun day for me. January for me really hit the ground running really fast. I know I was super excited to be all in, and I had my vision board workshop very early in January, which this 2023 is gonna be a little bit later, but it's all perfect. So it was definitely a very full January. January is usually relatively slow for me, but it was a full one and it was great. And January was actually when I got the call from the American Heart Association to invite me to come speak later in the year. So that felt like a gigantic thing, which it was. And it still is. And so it's also fun to look back and see that little thing that you thought maybe was going to be big. Did it turn out to be big or not? And yeah, it kind of did. So that was kind of fun. For me, February, I was back in Hawaii. I got to go back to visit mom and dad, and my dad's birthday is Valentine's Day. So I got to spend my dad's birthday with him. And of course, that is the day that we launched the podcast. So that was kind of a big deal for the month of February. Yeah. What about you? Anything stand out for you in February?
The only thing that I remember is that, we intentionally picked 214 for our launch day. And so that day and that number has changed for me significantly. So I honestly think that Wednesday was just about networking and getting my boots back on the ground, my head down, and just gearing gearing professionally,
Yeah, coming off of a month sabbatical, it's like great to be gone that long, but then it's like, oh boy, real life.
Yeah, but is
What
it?
do we need to catch up on?
But is it that great to be out that long? And then
Yeah.
I just from there think about snowballing into March, and that's all I can say is nothing necessarily stood out, but it just all started to snowball and melt together.
That's a nice way to put it. That's kind of a metaphor for March
It
also, at
really
least
is.
here in Colorado. We have lots of snow and lots of melting going on and then lots more snow. March was I can't label things as the best or amazing, but it was unbelievable. I had the 2 trips to Alaska, not knowing really what to expect in any way, shape, or form, and from the minute I got picked up by Mike LaJoy at the Fairbanks Airport at I think 3 AM or some crazy time, you just know it's gonna be incredible, and every minute of that first trip was. And then I was home for a very brief period of time, and my dad was here during that time that I was home. He got to spend that time with him. He did my beautiful tile backsplash in the kitchen that I've been dying to have done for a while. And then I was right back on an airplane to go to Anchorage to do the sessions for American Heart there, and it was amazing in a whole different way from the first trip, and oh my gosh, all the things that have blossomed, including the friendships, and maybe those are the most important ones, honestly. The friendships that blossomed out of those 2 trips really made March very remarkable for me.
I think that that is also where, and I know that's where my focus is going this next year, but this last year taught me a lot of that importance of, you know, genuine friendship and how much it really means, even if they're a brand new
Yeah,
friend.
yeah, definitely. I know I like there was a lot going on in your life, March, April, May, through this like all of it. So what about April? Like any
I feel
big
I
thing?
really, and I know I'm doing a disservice to what happened this last year, but it is pretty difficult to look back and reflect without social media. I took down all of my posts just for personal reasons, and I do believe that I will keep it that way at least this next year. Just it's been easier to put my head down and not matter what I'm doing because it really doesn't matter what I'm doing as long as, you're doing it. So it's hard to reflect on May. I know June I had a 45 miler. I know June we had lit. So I think maybe the reason everything all swarms together is because I was preparing for those 2 things, between
Mhm.
still working full time for LinkedIn and then preparing for all of my extracurriculars on the weekends. It's just all is just like go, 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 go. Plan every single minute so that you can get everything done so that you've I feel a sense of accomplishment. So,
Yeah.
not really anything crazy that I can think of, but I feel like you had a lot of stuff April, May, June, the Hawaii and Nebraska and Hawaii and all the places. So,
All the places. Yeah. Again, my theme was all in, which means I was saying yes to things that maybe I would not normally have said yes to simply because I know my capacity. You have a much higher capacity to go, 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 go and do, 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 do than I do. And and yet there were opportunities and things that came up that are very rare and occasional. And even though it was out of my comfort zone, maybe just physically, financially, whatever it was like, okay, but I'm all in. So, yes, because this matters. And it really is something that whenever I have that theme of my year, it is helping me determine, does this matter? And if it matters and I'm okay being pushed out of my comfort zone, I will do it. If it's pushing me out of my comfort zone and it really doesn't matter, then I'm not going to do it. And so it helps me be intentional. And for me, that means saying yes when I would normally say no. For a lot of people, it's saying no when they would more likely say yes. So April, yeah, there was, gosh, even just from a business standpoint, there were so many really great things happening, lots of opportunities here locally as well as virtually. And then a very good childhood friend turned 50 and got to go out to California and spend that time with her on a pretty impromptu trip. So to celebrate that time with Michelle, who we had on the podcast later on in the year, Michelle Johnson, Michelle Reinert, as I knew her growing up. And on that trip, I met a new friend who today is still a friend, right? You don't know who you're going to meet. Met her on an airplane. She was really awesome. And I don't usually talk to people on planes because it's annoying. And ended up sitting right behind me. We had kind of talked at the gate because the flight was late. And she's sitting right behind me, and we talked nonstop. We got scolded by the flight attendant because we were talking during the safety spiel. And she ended up going on a hike with Michelle and I. So to meet Rochelle Manning on that trip was really great and super fun. And then here we go in May. Like, I came back from that. My very good friend Martha was heading into a pretty serious surgery. So I went down to Texas and spent about 5 days with her. And that was really impactful for me. It felt really good to be able to help a friend who very often resists help from people. And I feel like we had it was maybe one of our best times together because she literally couldn't do anything. She was kind of forced to just let people help her. So it felt good. It felt like we got a deeper connection on our friendship on that trip. And then I know there was a family trip somewhere in May. I think we went to Michigan for Memorial Weekend, I think, and then came back. And then I drove to Omaha for Lit. I mean, yeah, it was nonstop. Met so many amazing women there, and got to see you in 100% Sasha style, which is, as an observer watching it, it really is. It's pretty jaw dropping, quite honestly. And then to get to have a little bit of one-on-one time with you after that was really special for me as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That means a lot for you to say that to me. So Lit was an outstanding time, and so much has come from it, so much has grown, so much has been given out and given back. And it's a very beautiful thing to watch unfold. I'm blown away with how fast this year has flown by. Like, we were
It
just
does,
talking
right?
about how we were setting up our vision boards in January, and now we're already talking about July, August,
Yeah,
September, and then where did October and November go? Because feel like tomorrow should be October. Weird,
right?
weird.
Right. Well, summer for me was another kind of whirlwind. Work is typically a little slow in summer, so I took advantage of that slow time to go all in on other things. There was another family get together, I want to say over 4th of July ish. And I know I should know this because I experienced it. Maybe that's when we were in Michigan. Now I have to go back and literally look at my day planner to see where I went. But then I went back to Alaska at the end of July. The friends that I had made asked me to come and play with them. So I did. And it was great and so much fun, and made other new connections, which are great. And we'll just look forward to continuing nurturing those, right? That's the thing, is when you go all in on some things, there are going to be doors that open that you never even knew existed, right? You didn't even know that door was there. And I think that's been a really great lesson for me, just to say yes sometimes when I might otherwise say no. And then, yeah, August, here we are, August, the end of summer, right? Things starting to wrap up. And now we're going to fast forward into the fall, and kids going back to school, and parents adjusting to all of that. And the days getting shorter and darker, and all this other stuff that, is like, oh my gosh, it's almost the end of the year. How do we do this? So August and September felt like very much a mushy blur to me.
Yeah, I'm I'm gonna just say I'll speak on September being a really big month in my life. That is when I decided to make some personal changes, and I turned 35 in September. I did my positivity sign, which was really great. And then 2 days later, I realized I'm not living 35 the same way I lived 34. And I'm very glad that I made those decisions, because now October and November were very difficult and dark, dark, dark times for me. But now here we are in December, the most wonderful time of the year for me. As you guys can, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll just do a really quick seas like this. That's where I'm at right now. So I'm at kind of, this might be the first one I listen to, just so I can go back and cheerlead the moment that I'm in right now. But I'm so glad for the September Sasha. I'm very grateful for her. I tell her that all the time, how I'm very proud of her. And I'm proud of my October and my November Sasha, because they felt a lot of feelings and they sought for a lot of help and received help. And then now I'm here with December Sasha that feels like a very happy and things are how do things are healing in such a beautiful way that they're not completely broken and things are and you know the Chinese proverb where they say if something breaks, when they fix it they will fix it with gold in the cracks versus just completely breaking the pot itself. And that's genuinely how I feel in this December moment where I'm surrounded by my closest friends and thousands and thousands and thousands of people in Omaha have come together to put on this miraculous store that I'm sitting in the middle of that I'm in just absolute disbelief. It's a dream and that I'm genuinely happy and I'm filled with gratitude and I'm thankful that my husband and I gave each other time and then additionally that we were willing to put in the work to heal. So yeah,
Yeah.
the year
Yeah.
itself is crazy because it's all just mush and I feel like a lot more pain than beauty, but at the end of the day, where I'm sitting at right now in this moment on 12/17, that of course this is gonna air here in a bit, but on this moment, I'm just filled with happiness, joy, and comfort, reflecting on all of the pain, knowing that it got me to where I am right now.
And I think that's why reflecting is so important. A lot of times we want to stuff down the bad stuff. We want to just move on from it, get over it, except you don't, right? You have to sit in the feelings and the emotions and take that time. And the healing journey is long, right? You're not just healed. There's a lot that goes into that, but it's the beginning of it. Like no wound is healed overnight. If you have a cut on your arm, it's not healed overnight, right? It's a process. I will say that September, an event happened in September also with a very good friend that changed the course of the friendship forever. And I'm totally okay with it. There's a good chance it will actually never go back to anywhere close to anything. It might at some point get back to something, but whatever it is, I'm okay with it. It was something that was not unsurprising. It was surprising that it happened when it happened, but really, the whole thing isn't surprising. And there would have been a time where I would have looked at that and really had a lot of sadness or anger or confusion or hurt or, I don't understand, or I have to have this need to explain myself or to have closure. And I'm really happy to be at that place where I can look at things for what they are in the moment. And there's reasons why I am not going to put effort into this friendship anymore. And they're very good reasons. And doesn't matter if anybody knows them, including her. If she wants to know, maybe she'll reach out and find out. And I don't know what's going on in her side of it. She might be feeling the exact same thing. She might be feeling like we're totally fine and we're just both busy. I don't know. But it's also something that I have learned to not lump the entire thing as bad, right? There was all this good and then it wasn't, and then it's different. And learn to categorize that. Because I think sometimes when we have yucky stuff, we dismiss all the great stuff that was also part of it. We just lump it all into yucky. And it's like you said, you would not be in such a place of happiness and joy had you not gone through the yucky stuff. So it's a process that, as we all continue on this journey, hopefully we learn to go through that process a little sooner rather than later. October and November were awesome. Of course, I was back in Hawaii and turned 50 in November. Visited my two girlfriends, Michelle and Michelle, in Phoenix in November, which was great. Oh, I can't forget October, going back to Michigan to celebrate with my sister, just going to the football game, getting to speak at her college. I mean, all of it there's so much, right? And I don't know that I've ever looked back on a year with so much good stuff. I have to say this year I can't even think. There was that one really hurtful, yucky experience. And then I've processed through it and I'm good. I don't know. To have only one thing in a year where was really kind of yucky that's pretty remarkable, I think. And I know it's not going to be like this always because life is full of yucky stuff. I'll get more at my point in life, and it's okay. But definitely feeling grateful for just a wow kind of year that it's been.
Yeah, I
So,
guess
yeah, let's fast forward to December present time. You have some, I mean, I can't even.
yeah,
I can't
I
even.
can't
I
even.
know. So you
Okay.
go.
So
Go
I'm just
tell
going
it.
to tell my last 3 weeks really quickly, just because that's going to lead up to literally where I'm at right now, where I just shake my head and go, "Ugh." So the very last week of November, Andrew and I, mind you, there is a lot of healing that needed to be done, but him and I decided to take a trip to Bahamas. So we spent a week in the Bahamas, just him and I, which is great. And it was beautiful for the both of us. And then as soon as we got back, my nanny got COVID, so I had to take a week off of work. And then the week after that, which was this week. Okay. Which was this week, I got a call on Monday. Today is Friday, everyone. So I got a call on Monday of this week from the Kelly Clarkson show. And they said, "Hey, we want to have you on the show." I'm like, "I'm sorry. Excuse me, what?" They're like, "We're flying you out tomorrow and we'll fly you back on Wednesday." Okay. So I flew out to California to Los Angeles. It's been a dream. I cannot I pinch myself to make sure that I'm awake, but there's just no reality. Like it just blows my mind. So then on Wednesday morning, I woke up, got me a driver. I filmed on Kelly Clarkson next to Anna Kendrick, Jordan Jones. The very, very last thing that they said to me was, "And thanks to our sponsors." And then the next thing you know, I just start screaming, "No, no," on national TV, just crying, "No, no." And the Kelly Clarkson show with their sponsors donated 25,000 to Project Intentional, which is where we're sitting at right now. I woke up Thursday morning, so I flew in Wednesday PM. Well, I guess I should say Thursday morning because it was 12:30 by the time I got home. Woke up, came down to this store yesterday, started setting the store up. Today's Friday. We're in the middle of the store. We have 25 volunteers around here. I'm telling you, thousands of people to put on this production. And then tomorrow I wake up and baby, it's razzle dazzle time. It's time to showcase to love. We have 650 moms that we're adopting, 1,950 kids, combined total of 2,600 individuals. It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be absolutely insane. And so yeah, December was nuts. December was insane.
Yeah. And I remember one of our early episodes talking about the first Winter Wonderland that you had for Project Intentional, which was 1 year ago. 1 year ago at this time. And look at how it is now, right? And I mean, it is. And it is real because you sent me all the pictures. You invited me along for the ride. And I so appreciate that. I really did feel like I was there experiencing it with you. I'm gonna cry. And to see somebody in their greatness be recognized and awarded and rewarded for their greatness is pretty awesome. And I have to say this year, definitely. And I know people are like, oh my God, these two just like get over each other. I will never get over you ever. And so if you can't handle it listening, then you can tap out right now. But I know that this year was as magical as it was because you were a part of it. And I'm really excited to see what more magic is coming for Sashel in the coming years. I know there's more. I can't even probably predict what it is, but I know it's there. And I know there are certain things that you and I are intentionally planning on
Yeah,
doing. And then we'll just see how all of that
I know. And
blossoms.
and last year I think I was kind of filled with doubt of how to receive things, and this year I'm just going to say I'm receiving it. I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for it. So thank you for encouraging this relationship, forging it, and just being there to help support and to guide me. And even when you don't have directions or advice, just a safe place to rest and to be myself. So and thank you all you listeners that I Jess, our producer, just was giving us our numbers, and Michelle and I were like, "No, that number is not right." Okay, well, we'll take that number, man. For all of you that take your time to listen to us, you're outstanding. I hope you get as much out of these recordings as I do and Michelle does. And so I'm just thankful you're a part of this journey with us and that you're willing to go out there and be a us.
Well, I agree. I think that's a great sentiment to wrap us up on. Definitely grateful for anybody who will take the time to listen, to send us feedback because we get a lot, which is really cool. And you and I just got a message actually from the woman who connected us, from Kayla. And to be part of somebody's life, to feel like she wants to let us know this amazing news in her life, that is special. And so genuinely, you don't know who you're who you're influencing, who you're touching, whose heart or mind you are reaching. And when somebody lets us know that, it really does give us the inspiration to keep on going. So that is our plan for 2023, to continue delivering really helpful content and to hopefully spread the message bigger, wider, farther. The more people who hear it, I really do believe the better this world is going to be, because that is our goal, is just to help people be better beings. So thank you, Sasha. I love you. Jesse, behind the scenes, we love you. Thank you, because this would not be without you. Thank you to all the listeners. Yeah, wrap up this year strong, and let's get ready for a rockin' and rollin' 2023. Go and be a better being, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Be a Better Being podcast. Michelle and Sasha hope that what you heard today inspires you to embrace this journey of life with an open mind, a kind heart, and a willingness to learn and evolve. If you enjoyed the content, please help spread their message by subscribing, sharing, and leaving a 5-star review. If you have a show topic idea or would like to be a guest, please visit betterbeings.net and fill out a contact form. Until next time, go and be a better being.